What's up everyone, James here, and in today's video, being it's the weekend for me, you might be watching this video a little later in the week, but today is water change day, and I thought it'd be pretty cool to show you the sort of maintenance routine I have on my shrimp tanks. Now I have 4 different shrimp tanks predominantly. I've got 2 sort of planted ones, both sort of, one runs CO2, the other one just has just a normal LED light on, so I think most aquascapers would call it like a low-tech sort of situation. I dose a little bit of fertilizer, but that's about it. And the other 2 are sort of my natural style ones down here, so they use sort of botanicals and bits and pieces like that. So I thought it'd be really cool to show you the difference in maintenance that I have between my sort of planted tanks and yeah, these natural style tanks that I have as well. So yeah, let's get to it. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos of mine. I put out weekly videos on all of my fish keeping antics, so hopefully there's something for everybody. All right, everyone. So as you can see, I've got various different tanks at the moment. I've got my cherry shrimp tank here, which is a big planted one. And then I have my 2 natural style tanks here. These have got black rose shrimp in it, these orange sakura and orange really, and then I've got this one here which has blue dream, and I'll be honest, I think some blue jelly as well in there. They're all hiding at the back at the moment, but yeah, as I said, it's be interesting to show you the sort of the difference in maintenance between these 2 tanks here really, because this one I probably put a little bit more sort of trimming and stuff like that and cleaning, whereas this one I kind of leave to let nature do its thing a bit more in it, because yeah, trying to replicate the natural process in these tanks is what it's all about. So for all you nerds out there in terms of shrimp keeping, TDS wise, I tend to keep these tanks between 170 and about 230, I think some of them are at. I'll be honest, I'm not a big believer in keeping to this TDS level, but since I've sort of wanted to take shrimp breeding a little bit more seriously, I thought, well, let's try and keep to these parameters that they suggest online and see if I have any noticeable benefits. So yeah, that's what we're doing. In terms of like water parameters, I don't have a set fixed parameter for all of my tanks. Some vary, I won't lie. Some are more of a neutral area, some are a little bit more sort of on the lower scale, some just slightly above the neutral. The reason I'm using RO water predominantly these days with a slight dash of tap water is that the water in my area is quite hard, so yeah, it's just trying to make it a bit more softer in that sense, and obviously according to the internet you will have a lot more benefits with the welfare of the shrimp, so yeah, that's what we're trying to do here. So in terms of items used, generally there's no point in using a big huge bucket for these tanks, so I tend to use just a 2-litre jug and take about 2 litres of each of the tank's water, and yeah, replace that with either, like I said, RO or a bit of tap water, depending on sort of where my levels are at really. In terms of maintenance, like I said, the 4 different tanks that I have different maintenance sort of procedures. The 2 planted ones, I tend to sort of trim the plants every so often, clean the glass a bit more sort of from the back, you know, just to sort of remove the front of the glass of any algae, but I leave the sides of the glass completely covered because it's a great natural source for shrimp to graze on. Yeah, so with this one, for example, this has got duckweed in it, and sometimes it can be quite overpowering for the tank, so I tend to scoop out quite big loads of duckweed just to sort of let the light come through again. But I'm really happy with the way that this tank is at the moment, and I don't do a lot of trimming with the plants. It's been probably a month ago was the first time I'd done it in probably the best part of about 6 months, so I don't touch this tank often when it comes to the actual plants themselves. I kind of let it do its thing. Fertilizer wise, I just use whatever I've got to hand. Sometimes I've been using Aquatics Plants Green or Plant Boost by NT Lab, and they've been very good. Just put a sort of a squirt of that every so often. I don't often do it daily, sometimes I do, but it kind of depends on, you know, whatever if I've got the time in the evening really. But yeah, like I said, for the most part, it does really well on its own, so I don't tend to interfere too much these days with it. So as we're scooping duckweed out of the aquarium today, I'll be using my trusty little net and a carrier bag, which is very experienced fish keeper wise. Yeah, so I'm just going to scoop some bits out and then yeah, do the water change. So I'll speed this up so you don't have to sit here for ages watching me do this, but yeah, let's get to it. I forgot to say on this one as well, all of my shrimp tanks have sponge filters fitted to them. Now, I'll be honest, once again, I don't actually clean the sponges that often. I like to let them get all of that detritus and dirt all over them because I find it really helpful for shrimp. They like to graze on it. But I probably will every other month maybe. I'm a bit of a sort of let nature do its thing kind of fish keeper as opposed to sort of interfering too much. So yeah, I won't be touching any of the sponge filters in here at the moment because it's not time for me to sort of do any kind of maintenance to them. But yeah, and also the substrates. I used to be so religious about changing or you know, gravel back in the substrates, but these days, again with shrimp, they like to graze on the stuff on the floor, and it all helps build that sort of ecosystem that you want to create in an aquarium. So contrary to the opinion, detritus is a good thing, so I like to keep it. So that's the tank filled up. As you can see there, probably that I was sort of struggling a little bit getting the water in. This is one of the downsides to having a racking system, especially when you start to cramp your tanks in, and some are quite high, so it was a little bit difficult for me to put a funnel in because I can't just pour a jug into there. I could probably use like a tiny little cup, but it would take me for ages, so you have to make compromises there. I probably could use like a tube or something like this to sort of pump the water in, but yeah, I find that probably the quickest way. So yeah, just another downside to having a racking system, and something to bear in mind if you do have them. Alright guys, yeah, so it's the same thing about this tank. We don't do too much maintenance. The plants are sort of growing in nicely, so I don't need to be doing any trimming. So yeah, we'll just do the water change and yeah, sort of show you the rest of it. So with this tank, I noticed that the TDS is slightly lower than I want it to be, so I'm going to raise it a little bit. So I'm going to be doing part mix RO and a bit of tap water this time, but normally I've been using just RO on this one. So yeah, but like I said, things are getting a little bit too low, so I want to sort of see if I can up the parameters a little bit. all good on this one. I think I got my TDS back to where I wanted it to, so it's about 170 now. I do want to up it again, but I want to do the process slow because I don't want to shock any of the shrimp because I know how sensitive they can be. So maybe next week I will do a bit more tap water as opposed to RO and see if I can get the TDS just a little bit higher. All right, moving on to my natural style tanks. Now, as I said, there is a lot less maintenance that I do with these tanks as opposed to the other ones. So what I mean by that is I am literally about to do a 20% water change on both of the tanks, clean the front of the glass, and that'll be it. I don't like to sort of interfere too much, as you can see. I love that detritus. I want the algae all over the surface of the glass because that is a better representation of nature. So yeah, I want my shrimp to sort of enjoy that sort of habitat, and it seems to be doing absolutely wonders for my shrimp because the orange securas, for example, have been breeding like crazy. I don't even know how many I've got in there now because I need to count them, but I only started with 7 or no, it was 10, and there must be more than triple that already, and I've only had them a couple of months. So yeah, doing great. And the black rose shrimp in here, you'll never be able to find them because the tannins is so dark in here because the last week I added some botanicals, but yeah, they're in there, and there is a few shrimplets appeared, so I'm hoping that they're going to be some decent quality, but if they're not, then that doesn't matter. Yeah, I just enjoy sort of seeing the little shrimplets about, and yeah, doing really well considering I only had 3 black rose shrimp in there. To be able to get them to sort of breed with that small amount of shrimp is pretty good. So yeah, I don't like to interfere too much with these ones because I feel like nature does a better job for me. So yeah, let's get to it. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you found this video helpful if you are looking to keep shrimp. Now, I'd just like to point out I'm no expert, and I'm certainly not as hardcore as a lot of shrimp enthusiasts out there that really take a lot more care with you know, the conditions that they're put in. Obviously, I do have a care for them, and I like to sort of keep an eye on my water parameters, but when it comes to maintenance, like I said, I like to let nature sort of take its way. And yeah, it seems to be doing really well for me, but again, that's just my personal view. It could work out different for you, so just always make sure that you're doing your testing when you're doing things and changing things. But yeah, I mean, it's working for me. So also, for those that are new to the channel and might not have seen any of my previous videos, especially regarding like botanical aquariums or anything sort of natural like that, I've got loads of videos on my channel, so yeah, head over to them. I'll leave some links in the description, again in the top here as well, so you can go and check them out. I hope you liked this video. Again, if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing people's thoughts. If you've got any suggestions about how I can do my maintenance better, maybe, or you know, if you've got anything that you think I'm doing spot on, then let me know. That'd be great too. And yeah, if you want to support the channel, head over to my Patreon, the link's in the description. I have a merch store, so you can have a look on there if you want to buy any of sort of my official t-shirts and stuff like that. If you want to help support the channel, that goes greatly towards that. Yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, and until next time, you stay safe.